Let's pray. Dear kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we just come, we just humble ourselves, and we just want to praise you, Lord, and thank you for this beautiful night. Just thank you for letting us have the opportunity to come and fellowship with one another, meet new families, just come closer as a team, and as a family of our own. Lord, thank you for this food. Thank you for everyone who prepared it for us, Lord. God, right now I just pray for Coach Kennison as he comes up, that you be with him, and he gives us a great word tonight, Lord. We just love you, and I pray that we glorify you on and off the field and everything that we do. In your name I pray.
A baseball measures 9 inches in circumference, and it weighs only 5 ounces. It's made of cork, wound with woolen yarn. It's covered with 2 layers of cowhide. It's stitched by hand precisely 216 times. It travels 60 feet, 6 inches from pitcher's mound to home plate, and it can travel that distance at nearly 100 miles an hour. And along the way, it can be made to twist, spin, wobble, curve, rise, or fall away. The bat is made of turned ash, less than 42 inches long, not more than 2 3/4 inches in diameter. A batter has a few thousandths of a second to decide to hit the ball, and yet the men who fail 7 times out of 10 are considered to be the game's greatest players. It's played in parks, playgrounds, alleys of the big city, the farmers' fields, and domes by small boys and old men. It's the only game that the defense has the ball. It follows the seasons, beginning with the promise of springtime and ending in the hard facts of autumn. Americans have played baseball for more than 200 years. While they've conquered a continent, warred with one another and enemies abroad, struggled with labor and civil rights and the meaning of freedom. It's a profoundly conservative game that tolerates cheating, celebrates the individual performance with the ultimate goal of team success. It's a haunted game in which every player is measured against all who has gone before them. It's an American odyssey that links sons and daughters to fathers and grandfathers. It's about time and timelessness. It's about speed and grace, failure and loss, imperishable hope and victory, and coming home. Coming home. Welcome to our home tonight, the 17th Annual Itawamba Community College Leadoff Banquet. And tonight, the spirit of coming home, we'll begin by introducing a few of our family members. Our assistant coach is Justin Wright. Justin and his family, he has a fine baseball family, by the way, are the pride of Oneonta, Alabama, and he's blessed to be married to his wife, Katie. When I talk about Justin as a player, we have been blessed here at Itawamba Community College to have 3 men that have played in the major leagues. They're incredibly gifted, talented men. However, if you want to go on the basis of what a player produced while he was here, you could make a good argument that the greatest player who's ever put on a uniform at Itawamba Community College is Justin Bryant. He was a 2-time All-Division player. He was an All-State and All-Region pick on consecutive division title teams, a state championship team. Both of his teams ranked in the nation's top 10. He was a JUCO All-American as a sophomore. Justin hit .455, 11 homers, 75 RBIs, 22 doubles. He went from here to Auburn, and at Auburn, Justin has his batting gloves enshrined in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Justin drove in 8 runs in a game against the University of Georgia, and for that, he has an honor that no one else at this school, or very few schools, have ever provided. And he had Tommy John surgery that separated him, but even with Tommy John surgery at Auburn, he finished as a career plus 300 hitter, 8 saves, 6-1 record, and he started at 5 different positions. Ladies and gentlemen, our assistant coach, Justin Bryant. Following me to the podium will be our head coach, Rick Collier. Now, Rick is married, and he's really lucky to be married to Stephanie Stone from Fremont. And they have a son, Stone. He's our unpaid volunteer assistant, who, thank God, looks like his mother in the Stone family. Rick's a native of Manatee, where his older brother, Scott, serves as the high school baseball coach there. Now, when Rick was a player, he was an all-everything player when he was at Manatee High School. He started 5 years for the 2009 American Legion Baseball Program, one of the few players that ever started 5 years. In high school, unanimous all-division, all-state player while he was here at ICC. He was all conference, all region, and all American on 2 teams at Delta State that were nationally ranked. If you look in the record book at Delta State, you'll still find a lot of Rick's records. In fact, when Rick left Delta State, a lot of, in several categories, he was the #1 person when he left the school at that particular time. Some of the records have been passed since, but incredible, his name is still in the record book. He was the youngest man ever elected to the Delta State Athletic Hall of Fame. And I've always said, simply put, Rick loved to hit, and he never saw a pitcher that he couldn't hit. As a coach, Rick's coaching tree includes Boo Ferris, Mr. Mike Kennison, and of course ICC Hall of Famer Roy Crescent. And Rick has countless friends and coaches and contacts across this country. His resume is very impressive, but from the moment Rick wakes up, he's thinking about baseball. I'm going to vary a little bit from my script to tell you. He called me the other morning, and he said, now my phone rings at like 6:30 in the morning, and usually, you know, that's not good. And I answer the phone. He says, Brother Chris, this is Rick. Okay? I've been awake since 3 o'clock this morning. Okay? You're going to be there tomorrow night, aren't you? Yeah. He said, I woke up at 3 o'clock just thinking about it. Just thinking about it. So even when he's unconscious, he's thinking about baseball. A lot of people never get an opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream, but Rick Collier did. The one thing that he's always wanted to be is the head baseball coach at Edwina Community College. In that process, he's won 419 games. His teams have made 11 state playoff appearances, 10 regional tournament appearances, has won 8 North Division titles, 2 state titles, 1 Region 23 championship, 1 Super Regional championship, and made an appearance in the College World Series, Junior College World Series, where they finished 5th. He's had 9 different teams that have ranked in the nation's top 20. A handful of those have ranked in the top 10. More than 60 players of his have gone on to play at the senior college level, including a streak of 12 years, where for 12 consecutive years, our program was able to produce a player that went on and played in the SEC. And as I noted earlier, 3 of the players that Rick has coached have reached the major leagues. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Edwina Community College Indians, Mr. Rick Collier.
That's a good introduction. Thank you for the free. I tell you what, why that introduction's so long is because you look at my hair, I'm gray-headed and been here a long time now. So 17 years have flown by, 16 years have flown by. And I'm not, he's not telling the story. This is the job that I really wanted. This is home to me. And this is your Mississippi State, Ole Miss type job, Delta State type job right here. I love Edwina Community College. Had some good players in the past, jumped in there, and we got some good ones coming this year. I'm very excited about this team. We've got 29 out right now, and we are relying on every one of them. It's going to take every one of them to do a job to get us to where we want to be. And we're very excited about it. And I've been warned by Coach Ball several times. That's one of the best bosses I've ever had, probably if not the best. She's let me know when I've messed up, but she also, I hear good things from her when we're doing good things. But she said, Rick, keep it. You're not the speaker tonight. Keep it quick. So I can get the rolling. But first of all, I want to talk about Coach Bryant. He's added some years to my time. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't the person that he is. He worked to get here. He earned this job back in 08, 09, if that makes any sense. You didn't have to tell that kid to go, or young man, you didn't have to tell him to go to class. You didn't have to worry about his grades. You didn't have to worry about him off the field. On the field, you knew what you were about to get. You put that guy on the field, and it was hard-nosed. It was time to roll. And if somebody else wasn't doing the job, he'd jump right in there and help. He'd get after it. But very lucky to have him. He's added some time to me. He's helped on that recruiting. He's after it all the time. And he said, Coach, I'm getting him out of state next year. He signed his first out of state. I don't know if we keep him dibs on it or what. I don't care who finds him, but he did. He signed a good one coming in next year, 6'7", 250-pound right-handed pitcher. out of Baldwin County. And you guys will see him next year. But anyway, he works hard. And give him another hand, please. We'll go Lee Adams and Maggie Caldwell, Adam Gore, Raphael Henry, all in the public relations department. We'll be on the radio. You guys can listen to us or go to the internet. They do all that stuff. You can keep up with your kid playing. So anywhere you want to, either radio, internet, or come to the ball games, it'll be there. President Eaton, Mr. Collins, Dr. Collins, it's been a joy to work with those guys. And I know I've recruited a lot of you guys about the locker room. We had a meeting yesterday about the locker room. Right, Mr. Collins? It's about to start. It's got to go up. I know some of you guys keep asking when we're going to get the locker room. Just tell you, tornado hit Tupelo last year, and the prices went up on all the building supplies, and now they're back where they need to be, and they're about to start rolling on it. So, but Mr. Collins has helped a lot with that also. Steve Miller, the meal was awesome tonight. Sodexo, it's a great meal. They do an excellent job, and it's a great place. These young men get to eat food like that. They may not think every day, but it's close. It's a good place to eat. It really is. Kirk Sheffield, grounds, our baseball field, all the sports facilities. Everything looks first class. It's a nice place, and he does a great job. Alex Farah, stand up, buddy. Alex Farah, he's been my student assistant second year. Does an outstanding job. Don't have to worry about anything. You give him something to do, and he takes care of it. And we're very appreciative of Alex. My grandfather, my uncle's here tonight. My grandfather, stand up. He's, please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir. You stand up if you want to. But 94 years old, and he's been everywhere. I played at Delta State and here, and I don't think he's ever missed a game. And I remember, deep down in your young men, all the players now, deep down in your heart, you want your parents to come watch you play. I can remember back my grandma, she passed at 91 about 2 or 3 years ago. She used to tell the story where we were over in Arkansas playing, and I'm on deck. And usually I get there around infield time, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and I'm like, they're not coming today, I don't guess. And my grandma says I stand on deck, and I'm looking, steadily looking, and all of a sudden I see them, and she starts waving at me, and I'm over there and I go, glad to do over, I'd be going, hello, glad y'all came, appreciate you being supportive. And, they opened the door for me, and I like you guys, y'all are great parents, and these guys have got the world by the tail, and you can tell that y'all take care of your kids. And last but not least, Stone and my wife, she hadn't missed one, but her dad, they found 2 more spots. He lost his kidney about 4 months ago to cancer. He went for a checkup, got 2 spots on his bladder, and they got an emergency surgery in the morning in Nashville. And she found out about 3 o'clock this afternoon, so she headed out. And that's the reason why she's not here tonight. I want to introduce the Diamond Girls. Miss anybody? Brother Chris has been a great friend of mine for a long time, and he's been doing this opening ceremonies for 17 years, and I go by and talk to Brother Chris all the time. He's just a friend. He's a great friend of mine, and he's been there for me for a long time. Coach Kennison, I'm glad he came tonight. Bill Marchant was my coach, but I was fortunate enough to work under Coach Kennison as a grad assistant 1 year. I was getting my master's, and I coached with him. I worked on the field. And oh man, you're talking about every day you go to that field. He knew how to work you now. We all went to Delta State in the fall, and that's a nice place. And It's just, that's his baby. Baseball field, that's his baby now, and he takes care of it, just like everything else. But I learned a lot under Coach Kennison, and that year was very, very educational to me that I got to work under him. Stone, that's my little one, 10 years old. You guys will see him in the dugout all the time, and we'll put a helmet on him, and he won't be the bad boy. And I tell him it's not just Stone, it's all the kids. They look up to you guys. You don't know how good you are, and you're at a great place, and these kids look up to you and lead by example, and watch what you say around a kid, because you don't know who's listening to you. But he does. He'll come home and say, Daddy, I heard this, or Daddy just said this. So, I know what you say. Okay, I know I'm going long, Coach Ball. I'll go with the Diamond Girls, and these young ladies, they mean so much to the ball club. They chase balls, they run our scoreboard, help in the concession stand, take up tickets. Be hard to do it without these young ladies, and not all of them are here tonight. We have several of them. But we put it together. School starts later now. We're like on a D1 schedule, so we usually can get the girls together a week earlier, but we had a week off, so a week longer after Christmas. But we've got them together now, and please stand if you don't mind, and I hope I say these names right. But Kinsley Hancock, we'll clap at the end. Molly Mills, Lauren Collier. That's my brother's little girl. She's a young lady now. Carrie Lease, Shelby Leachman, Brooklyn Walden, Molly May, Nicole Summerall, Alyssa Kelly. Now, is there any young ladies that didn't write your name down? If they are, I want you to be recognized. All right, these young ladies help us. Now for this year's club. I am excited about these guys. There's a lot of life on the field. We've got a lot of freshmen. We've got some key sophomores starting. All of them are very important. You've got to wait your time. But I'm very excited. We got a chance to put up some runs, and we keep our arms healthy. We'll have a good chance at this. Make a good run at it. It's a new format this year. It used to be a north and a south. We used to play a home and away with, say, northwest, northeast. I'm not getting all of it now. There's 15 junior colleges in Mississippi, and we got one trip with each junior college. That's 28. There's 14 teams will play. That's 28 division games, and the top 8 will make the playoffs. The top 4 records will host a 2 out of 3 series. I know all you guys are wondering how it all works, so I'm telling you. The top 4, say Etowamba, Northwest, Hines, and Holmes are the top 4. The next 4, number 8 goes to number 1, number 7 goes to number 2, right on down the line. You'll play a 2 out of 3 series. And they're all 9-inning games. The host team is obviously home team. The whole time it's 3-game series. Then, if you're left out of that, you win that 2 out of 3, the 4-team standing will go to the high seed left standing to their home park and play a 4-team state tournament after that 2 out of 3 series. First team out, there's going to be a team in a 4-team tournament. First team to lose 2 games is out. LSU Eunice, that state tournament there, that's your 4. But the first 2 out is out of, obviously, the state tournament. Their season's over. The winner wins state. Then the LSU Eunice this year will go to Eunice. Been down there tons of times. You go to Eunice, and Eunice takes that 4th slot, and then you play those 3 teams against Eunice in the region, and the winner of that goes to the World Series. So does all that make sense? They're just throwing it at you and letting you know how it's all run. These guys got a chance. They got to believe in themselves. Got to work. You know, it's up to them. The torch has been passed, is what I tell them. All this stuff you hear up here, they don't anybody care about Etowah Community College that don't have an Etowah uniform on. You know what I'm talking about? They want to be there, right? So I told them all this winning, the torch has been handed to you. It's time for you to do your part and carry on the tradition. That's just throwing out goals and reaching out to the guys. All right, we'll go with sophomores first. Tanner Poole. And I'd like for mom and dad to stand up. Jimmy Earl Poole and Miss Sandy Jones. We'll clap at the end. Braden Owen. Kurt and Kim Owen. Gable Butler. James and Shalane Butler. Brady Shambly. Lynn and Stephanie Shambly. Russ Johnson. Jimmy and Teresa Johnson. Russ has worked hard. Russ is going to be our starting shortstop. He had earned that. Russ broke his finger. We're going to need Russ to get there. We'll find out Friday what's going on with Russ, but I'm throwing that at you guys. We're going to have to get him healthy. But we'll go find out Dr. Rice tomorrow what all's going to happen. Drew Carter, Scott and Michelle Carter. Bryce Williams, Bruce and Patricia Williams. Brady Thompson, Mark and Angie Thompson. Hayden Williams, Ken and Christy Williams. TJ Watson, Tommy and Tracy Watson. Mr. Tommy he was a bad man back in the day. He gonna laugh and smile, but he played the line great. He pitched for Etowah Community College. I came over here, he was with my brother, and I always used to hang out in dorms with him. I was younger than he was, not but a year or two, but no, let me tell you what, man. I see where TJ got that arm from. Cody Young, Roy and Greta Young. Timothy Rowe, Billy and Chong Rowe, Cole Robinson, Andolyn Sanders and Tack Robinson, Jeff Mitchell, Larry and Petty Geist, Jonas White, Robert and Suzanne White. Hagen Box. Keith and Jennifer Box. Cole Henson. Steve and Karen Henson. Nick Burns. Ken and Karen Burns. Dylan Taylor. Mr. Eddie Hood. Logan Brown, David and Debbie Brown. Blake Wigington, Randy and Lori Wigington. Blake McGuff, Denny and Christy McGuff. John Pugh, Stephen and Joanna Pugh. Trenton Stringer, Nathan and Melissa Stringer. Drake Roughton, Joanne Roughton, Dylan Nicholson, Hubert and Ida Nicholson, Seth Young, Spence and Missy Young, Ty Wheeler, David and Tammy Wheeler, Dalton Hudspeth, Missy and Cully Hudspeth. These guys got a chance now. It's up to these guys, and I think they're going to get after it, and they're ready to roll. But let's give them a round of applause. it's here. When this banquet's here, I know for sure that it's ready to go, and I'm excited about it, and I hope we can catch some days like today in February. There'll be some hard days to catch, but I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thank you, guys.
Delta State head coach Mike Kinnison, he is a native of Benton, that's Yazoo County. Proud husband of Cindy, father of 2 grown daughters. This man has an undergraduate and a graduate degree in mathematics. In mathematics. And he teaches those classes at Delta State. Mike was an outstanding prep player. At Delta State, he started at shortstop. He was a second team All-American. Took his team to the championship game of the D2 College World Series. Rick Cleveland, who is director of the state's Hall of Fame and a longtime columnist for the Clarion Ledger, was quoted as saying, and I like the quote, he said, "Mike Kinnison is not only Mississippi's most decorated college baseball coach, but he's a legend that is still at work." He's approaching 20 years as head coach at Delta State. Delta State, of course, placed on the map by Coach Boo Ferris, who served for 26 years, and as noted, followed by Bill Marchant, whom Coach served under for 2 or 3 seasons, I know. His teams at Delta State have won more than 800 games, more than 1,100 during his career, which includes Lee Academy, Jackson Prep, Madison Central. He won 3 state titles. And his teams have won at a better than 75% clip, which in baseball, absolutely an incredible percentage when you win 75% of your games. 5 of his teams have won 50 or more games in the season. And he became the school's all-time winningest coach in just his 15th season. 2 of his players have been National Players of the Year. You need everybody's hands in the room to count the number of Delta State players that have been on either a state, a regional, or a national level. When D2 finally decided they would have a National Coach of the Year, he was the first man selected. He's been the 6-time Gulf South Conference Coach of the Year, and he was the Coach of the Decade in 2010 for the first 10 years. And just simply put, if there's an award that Mike Kinnison has not won, they invented it this morning. But probably more important than anything else, at least I think if you would ask him, there's only one coach in the great state of Mississippi that has taken a senior college baseball program to a national championship. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you to join me, acknowledge and welcome that coach, our guest speaker tonight, Coach Mike Kinnison.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that, and both you and Rick and your kind remarks. And, you know, the numbers, well, they mean a lot. I'll say that. They do mean something, but it's just a reflection of the great players you have in your program and the great opportunity you have to coach guys who can get those kind of things done. Believe me, I have a true understanding that the higher you go in athletics, the less difference you make as a coach as far as wins and losses. It becomes more about recruiting and building teams and getting teams together. But I just say that to make sure all of you know that any accolades, honors, or anything I've been fortunate enough through God's grace to receive is because of the great players I've had and some opportunities that have been presented to me by the different schools I've been at. I want you to know I'm very honored to be here, and I mean that sincerely. That's just kind of something people throw out there sometimes to say, but I really am. It's very special to me to be here. Every time I'm on this campus, I'm always impressed. Facilities, the neatness, the cleanness, but most importantly, I'm always impressed with the people that I get a chance to meet. Certainly, I have a special interest in the school and this program. A lot of that is first of all, because of my relationship with Rick, and as he mentioned a little earlier, I missed coaching Rick by a few years, but I did have a chance in my first year to go to Delta State as an assistant coach. He and I were on the same coaching staff, and we shared an experience back in 1994 that was just a magical World Series season that was completely unexpected, and we had a great opportunity, along with the catcher sitting over there that was on that team, to make some great memories that will last for a long, long time. And You know, certainly in my business and my profession, the recruiting process is everything. And when you have coaches like Rick or like Gary who are out in that business and can help you identify and locate players, it's really special. So for all those reasons, I'm honored to be here and be part of this. I bring you greetings from Delta State. I went to Delta State, I played at Delta State, I met my wife at Delta State. I've been back there, as Chris said, 20 plus years working, so, you know, it's ingrained. It's kind of the right fit for me. I've enjoyed that. There's great people there. Very positive time in our university right now. We're under tremendously good leadership, and there's a lot of positive things going on in our university, and our athletic programs are doing really well. So again, we just bring you greetings from all those people there. I want you to know that I certainly recognize how important this area, Northeast Mississippi, and specifically this program has been to our success at Delta State. You always get into trouble when you start naming names, but there's a good lineage of players that have come from this school, that have come to our school and helped us do some really, really good things. And I can throw out those names like Pierce and Patterson and Enos and Dillard and Bailey and Collier, Ellison, Walkirch, I could go on. Those are all guys who played right here and have come to our program at Delta State and have been a huge part of our success. Really excited to add a couple more names to that line, Gill, Chambly, and I know those guys are going to do great things for us as well. I know this is a good program, and there are guys sitting right in this room that are still very high on our list as this recruiting process unwinds. And we take a good look at this program in this area, and we know that when we get players from this program, they're going to be well trained, they're going to be well disciplined, and they're going to be guys that fit in well for us. I will give you a quick Ethan Gill update since there's a lot of his former teammates sitting out here. He's doing really well. He's had a great fall, great spring, really settled in. You know, I like what I'm seeing. I think he's going to be a really good player for us at our level. He'll be hitting right in the middle of our order. Probably start at third base, playing at first a little bit too, but he is solid. And that's all, you know, the baseball bloodline, I guess. But he's a fine young man. He has really come in and gone to work and been very respectful and enjoyed the coach. So I'll give you an update on him also. You know, it's an exciting time right now. We sit here, and my team is just like your team. We play a week from tomorrow. That's why we are awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. To tell you the truth, we coach and learn that sleep is very overrated. It's very overrated. And you learn to function without it. And when you're a coach and you're monitoring curfews, you sleep light, and you hope the phone doesn't ring, and you don't sleep sound anymore. But we're excited, just like I know you are, about what's upcoming and this season. Right now is a great time. We're all optimistic, aren't we? We're all undefeated, aren't we? We've got it all out in front of us. And for you players, all that time you've put in the fall, that practice routine in the fall and now in the spring, battling some not so kind weather sometimes, all those hours in the weight room, those early morning runs, all those things you have to do to not only be a good baseball player, but to instill being a good person that leads to being a good baseball player. It's now about to begin to pay off. And I'm excited about that. You know, it never gets old for me. People ask me sometimes, Coach, how much longer are you going to coach? Well, I think I got a few more years that are decent, but I don't really know the answer to that, but here's how I do answer it. I tell them, when I lose the competitive spirit, don't worry, I'm gone. When that catcher throws it down, and that leadoff hitter puts his cleats in that box, and that pitcher steps up there and takes a deep breath, and it's game on, and I'm not feeling it a little bit, then I know it's time to do something. It won't be sit on the couch, it'll be something else. So That's the part of it that I love, and I love that competition aspect. And I just love working to try and pull a team together and let them see how they can put the pieces together to be part of something much bigger than they are alone. But you know, while it's an exciting time, and I would remind you players of this, something that we coaches know, the season's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And it's peaks and valleys, and it's ups and downs. It's 4 for 4s and 0 for 4s. It's ground balls through the legs that let the winning run score, and you go home, and you don't want anybody to say anything to you. You just want to be left alone. And then there's those days that you win it in the bottom of the ninth on a big hit, and you couldn't feel any better, and the food tastes so much better, and everything's great. That's this game, and the season is a grind. And you have to prepare for that. You really do. You have to prepare for it in a lot of ways. How do I overcome that? How do I deal with that? And all my years of coaching, which now is 30 plus. Well, I think about the good times. You know, yeah, we have those days, and there's some days that I don't feel real good about how our team performed. There are those days that I don't feel real good about how I coached and some decisions I made. Left that guy in there too long, cost us a game, etc. And you go home and you kind of, like I said, stare at the walls. But there's so many good memories that all of us have. All of us have. And it helps us get through that grind, that up and down of a long season. One place I go quite often, and Chris mentioned it a few minutes ago, is when I'm kind of maybe in the depths of the season or not in a low point of the season. I think back to a night in May of 2004, about 9:30 p.m. one night, when one of your own guys in the bottom of the ninth, Scott Ellison, ran a 90-mile-an-hour fastball past the number 3 hitter in the lineup from Grand Valley State, and Bell State wins a national championship. I think about our 2012 team. 2012. Boy, what warriors. What absolute warriors. One of those senior salty teams. As a coach, you know they're going to be pretty good. You just got to keep them from focusing on that. You just got to keep them working. And great accomplishments by that team. We go to the conference tournament, which is an 8-team double elimination tournament. We win 6 games in 5 days and proceed on to the toughest regional in the United States every year, the NCAA South Florida region. We go to Tampa, the only 8-team regional in the country, and we win 7 games in 5 days. And yeah, that's coming out of the loser's bracket, and that's using every pitcher on your staff, some who hadn't thrown many innings. But 5 days later, we're playing in the World Series in Cary, North Carolina, and almost did it again. Almost did it again. 5 games in 5 days, national championship game. We didn't win it. We were runner-ups that year, but that certainly never diminished what that 2012 team did. So in that grind of the season, with all those ups and downs, that's how I persevere. I go back to those, and it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And sometimes, you know, that opportunity will present itself again. I think you deal with the grind of the season, players and coaches and parents. It's stressful in those stands, I know that. If you have that genuine love for the game, and I'm talking about this game that you were probably introduced to back when you were very small by your dad through Little League and all those great days. When you hit your first home run or you got your first glove and you remember what that was like. But I identify completely with Kevin Costner in that movie, you know, Love the Game. I don't think you ever get too old. I think your heart's still there if you have a genuine love for this game, no matter whether you're 35, 55, or 15. It is a frustrating game. I don't think I would call it quite a love-hate relationship. Let's call it a love-frustration relationship. Those 0 for 4s, those ground balls between the legs. You know, we all know baseball can put you on the highest plateau and it can absolutely break your heart. And that's one of the things we have to learn to appreciate about the game. And isn't that like life? Isn't that just like life on a daily basis? One of the things I think I've learned to love about this game of baseball is how it challenges players and how it challenges coaches. It challenges us mentally. It challenges us emotionally. It challenges us physically. We are fundamental nature. We have to be very fundamental. The strategy is very challenging as a coach. And most of all, as Chris mentioned earlier, it's just a game of failure. It's just a game of failure that's so challenging to deal with on all those different perspectives that I mentioned. I would tell you, though, that there are great highlights and great memories out there for the taking. I shared mine with you of that 2004 National Championship, and we had two Itawamba Community College players in that lineup that night. I mentioned Scott Ellison and Will Walker, our left fielder. And I also mentioned to you, I've kind of run that cycle for 30 years. And, you know, the love-frustration cycle of this game. And I think maybe I could sum my feelings up best by telling you my favorite movie of all time, my wheelhouse movie, is Field of Dreams. Guess it's that Kevin Costner thing, I don't know. But I love that movie, and there's a particular scene in there that really captures, I think, the love of baseball. You remember the scene, you know the story. If you build it, they will come. He does that. Ray builds the field. And finally they come. They come. All the old school guys. They come out of the cornfield. And, you know, it's all those legends out there. They turn the lights on, and they're all out there on the field, whistling, playing pepper, popping the ball around. You know, old school uniforms. And in that group is Ray's dad, John. Now, John doesn't know that Ray's his son, but Ray knows that John is his dad, who played baseball earlier, passed away, etc. So obviously it's a special reunion moment when he gets to see his dad again. But you know, if you remember the scene, John walks up and he's looking at Ray and he's just kind of old school, popping his hand in the glove. How you doing? Doing all right? And he looks around, and, you know, and John says to Ray, "Is this heaven?" Ray's confused a little bit, and he says, "No, this is Iowa." John, still chewing the gum, looking around, and he says, "You know, I could have swore this was heaven." Ray says, he's thinking deep, you know, he says, "Is there heaven?" And John says, "Well, sure. That's where all your dreams come true." Ray looks out over the field, all the legends that have come to his field. He looks up on his house, and he sees his wife and daughter playing in the yard. And Ray looks back at his dad and he says, "You know, that may be heaven. This may be heaven." Well, I think that's a relationship and a feeling that a lot of us have with baseball. Can you have it with basketball? Can you have it with football? Sure. It's just what you grow up with. It's just what's ingrained in you. But for so many of us, we experience that just about every day we go out there. We get our little piece of heaven when we coach and when we play every day we go out there. The great thing about this game also is it just brings relationships. And you know, without the relationships, this game would not be nearly as special as it is. The coaches who coached you, quick, who is your third grade teacher? You got to think about it. You got to think about it. Who's the 35th president of the United States? Who won the NBA championship last year or the year before? You got to think about it. You probably know some of those things, but you got to think about it. But for every guy in this room who played baseball, you can say, "Who's your first little league coach?" And they remember that guy without question. They remember what an impact and difference they made. And the relationship part of it is something that, you know, we learn to cherish in players. You learn to cherish it in your teammates, in your coaches, in your parents who support you. Heck, even learn to cherish it in umpires, you know. we coaches sometimes have that love-hate relationship with umpires too. Okay, there's some umpires in the room, just check out for a minute. But we have to learn that they're part of the game too. Some of these guys would tell you, I had a pretty strong reputation in my younger days. I've melted completely. But in my younger days, I didn't really have a lot of tolerance for umpires who were out of position or didn't hustle or didn't know the rules. I don't evaluate much on right or wrong calls because I make a lot of bad ones too. But those are the three things I mentioned. They need to be on top of those. But I've learned over the course of time that I need to take a subtler, different approach with umpires. So I don't rush out onto the field anymore. I walk out calmly. I don't challenge them immediately, and raise my voice. I've kind of learned it's kind of more satisfying to kind of work the needle in from underneath a little bit, And I guess over the course of time, you learn to do that with umpires. I mean, we know we're not going to win the argument anyway, right? It's just, we kind of got to get a little satisfaction there. So I've learned to be a lot more subtle. I haven't been thrown out but twice in the last 5 years. I'll tell you about both those, and these are sure ways to get thrown out if you want to. So I just go out calmly and I ask the guy, I just say, okay, tell me what you got there, Here we go again. He'll give me whatever his standard reply is. Well, Coach, I saw this, I saw that, or whatever, and that time I just said, all right, reached in my pocket, got out a milk bone dog treat and put it in his hand. He looked at me, he said, well, I won't tell you exactly what he said, but he asked me what it was. And I said, I just thought your CNI dog might need that one. I was gone. Second time in the last 5 years, I thought, and I never take my cell phone to the ballpark. My wife gives me a hard time about that, but I'm all for it, I go to the ballpark. But one day I did, I took it and I went out to the umpire, and I asked him, hey, what you got? And he told me, went through that same scenario. So I just reached in my back pocket and took out my cell phone, started going through. I won't tell you what he said, but he did ask me what I was doing. I said, well, I'm just checking my missed call log here because I'm sure you're full of them everywhere. And I was not kidding. I wouldn't have done that. And I do like to have fun with the umpires, and I think that's been a change I've made over the years. I think I've come to the realization, like I said, I'm not going to win the argument anyway, so, I try a little bit different approach with them now. But again, I say all that to just reiterate that the relationships in this game, whether it's your parents, your coaches, your teammates, it's all important. And it all is something that we probably don't get the full value of when we're going through the process, but later we look back and we realize how special it was. I want tonight also to just talk about baseball and love of baseball, but always events like this, I want to speak directly to players. I want to, in the best way that I can, maybe you would call it challenging you, but just give you what I think might be important to review and look at, things probably you've heard before from your own coach as you sit here 1 week away from starting your season. And I want to wish you, first of all, the very best, and I want to remind you players of a few things that I think are important, and I've had to remind my players of these same things. Don't forget it's a privilege to play this game. It's a privilege. And you are responsible for your attitude and your effort. Don't ever ask a coach to coach your attitude and your effort. Understand, in my opinion, that this is a game that rewards dedication. It rewards effort. It rewards a competitive spirit. It rewards focus and concentration. It demands it. I would say to you, this is not a game that really cares about your Twitter feed or your Facebook post. It really doesn't. It cares about those other things. And I mentioned competitive spirit. These guys that have played for me and been around me, and that would be Rick and Gary in this room, I think. Mark's been around me a little bit, knows me. But I like tough guys. I like tough players. Sorry, the way God wired me up. I like guys who have great character and great value. I like tough guys. Guys who, and I'm not talking about go out behind on Friday night somewhere and get in a fight kind of tough. I'm just talking about the toughness to deal with whatever happens during the game. To deal with being 3 runs down in the 9th or 7th, you know. Deal with the pitcher who gives up 5 runs in the first inning and you're down 5-0 in the first inning. You got to deal with it. You got to fight through it. That's the kind of tough guys I'm talking about. But I don't think that competitive spirit can be underrated at all. I think it's one of the greatest factors I look for when I'm recruiting players. And I like those guys who have that chip on their shoulder and something to prove. And they internalize it. It's confidence without arrogance, but it's toughness at the right time. And I think that's the way you get through life. I think that's the way you get through life. Battling through the tough times and handling it the right way. I want to share with you players also what is kind of my main theme with my team this year. I don't know that I have a main theme every year, but it's just seemed to be the right one this year. And they're hearing it every single day from me right now. Every single day. Team first. Team first. And I would like to share a little bit of that with you. And here's some of the things that I continue each day to kind of bring up at different days and different times to my team. Team first. If you're not a good teammate, you don't play. Selfish, no. Selfless, yes. Team first. When the program wins, individual honors come. Don't worry about it. Do what Nick Saban says. He's kind of got this thing figured out. Trust the process every day. Work the process every day. The end result takes care of itself. When the team wins, individual honors come. See yourself behind the backdrop of team success. Team first. More is expected of the older players. They lead first. They lead first. Team first. No factions on our team. Everybody walks shoulder to shoulder. Nobody walks behind. Team first. You're required for self-control of your mental, emotional, and physical state. When you need to slow things down, you got to be able to do it. When you need to turn things up, you got to be able to do it. But it's a reflection on all of us, how we handle those different situations. Team first. Everything matters. There are no small things. Everything's a big thing. Don't think anything takes care of itself. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the story recently. The commander of what is called SOCOM, Special Operations Communications for the United States Navy, Admiral McRaven. He was the lead guy. He was in charge, responsible for the unit, the SEAL team unit, which he was a former member of the SEAL team unit that went to kill bin Laden. And he recently, the fall, I think it would have probably been maybe, I don't know if it was the Christmas or the following or previous summer, but a graduation address at the University of Texas to 8,000 graduates. He delivered the graduation address. And here's what he told them about the little things. He told the 8,000 or so graduates, if you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. Chief among the little things, make your bed up every morning. He explained that doing this provides a foundation for everything else you could want to do in a day. He went so far as to say, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed every morning. And what he's saying is just the discipline that you should have in the daily habits and the way you walk every day. Do the little things right, the big things take care of themselves. I know, like my team, all of you make goals for the season. You know, you have your hopes, you have your dreams. But think about one goal being team first. Serve your teammates, and then you'll find out the team serves you. Understand that there's a process of accountability, maturity, and responsibility that you players are going through right now. You don't see it, but understand it's happening. Also understand the numbers. I tell my team this all the time. Understand the numbers. Scientifically proven and correct. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning than you do of playing in the major leagues. Get that. So what you do as a student athlete every day is going to shape your future, the kind of husband, father, businessman that you are. Sometimes pro baseball doesn't work out for a lot of us, and you have to be prepared for what the next step is. I would say that one of your team goals that would be a great one to think about this year, and it's more on the personal level, is that try and set as a goal this year to have appreciation and gratitude and thankfulness to God whether you win or lose every day. I assure you all of us can find something to be thankful for every day. And we lose a lot every day. Particularly in the game of baseball and life, we lose a lot. And when you set those goals, understand this. Big goals require a big fight. Good players understand that. You know, you want to set your aim low, you want to set your dreams and your vision low, you can probably avoid that. But if you want big goals and you want something really, really special out of anything you're doing, you need to prepare for a big fight. I'd leave you with a couple of things. I guess I'm sharing with you a lot of things my team hears from me. I challenge them quite often to be special. Be a champion. We use that word champion a lot. Be special. And I tell them, there's plenty of room at the top, man. There's plenty of room at the top if you're going to law school to be in the top of that class. If you're going to be a doctor, there's plenty of room in med school to be at the top of that class. If you're going to own and operate your own body shop, there's plenty of room in that business at the top. Down at the bottom is where it's crowded. That's where it's crowded. It's not very crowded up at the top. Set your goals up there and try and strive for that. I've enjoyed being a small part of this and just sharing with you my love of baseball and my fondness for this school and this community. And again, I am honored to be here and be part of it and get to see and visit with some of you. I hope you can come visit our campus in the near future. Come over and see one of your own who's playing for us this year. And hopefully at least one, maybe more of your own that are playing for us next year. And I drove it in less than 3 hours today. I know what you hear. It's way over there, 2-day drive, but it's not. It's less than 3 hours. And it's straight 78 and 6 and 61. So come see us. We'd love for you to do that. I'd love for you to call my office one day and say, hey, Coach, I was at that function you were at ICC. And you said that anytime we wanted to come watch a game, all we had to do was call you and you leave tickets for us. And I would do that. I'd gladly do that. I had the honor to do this back in 2004. We've mentioned 2004 several times tonight. So I told Coach Collier, I said, okay, I'm expecting everything to happen this year that happened the last time I came.
I wouldn't sleep good tonight if I missed somebody, and I just get to looking around. Miss Maggie Caldwell, Dr. James Reed Bunch, Amy Brown. That's pretty nice. You know, that sheet of paper I sent you guys telling you about the banquet, that was pretty nice. You know, you got the mail from me. Carry out. You see a lot about ICC out there now, right? News. That's what all these guys do. They're getting our name out there, and you know, Miss Amy Brown, I had to meet with her 4 or 5 times with this thing, but I couldn't sleep tonight. I couldn't do it. You can't do without these people. They do a great job. I just sorry.
Just tell Coach Collier, I think I came up on the wrong side. I was trying to figure out how to get up here. I didn't know whether to take a run start or what. But I want to thank you for being here tonight, and a special thanks to Coach Kennedy for sharing with us. And also, I want to thank Coach Bryant and Coach Collier for putting this event together. And all those people that he mentioned that had a part in putting this event together. It's been a great night tonight. Now, I want to ask for your support as we compete for a championship this season. And you can start by coming to the game next Saturday, I think, February 7th. Have a doubleheader starting at 12. Play Calhoun Community College. We do need your support. And as Brady comes to us again, I want to thank you for being here tonight, and I want you to have a safe trip home. Thank you, and go in.
Silent auction will be closing at 8 o'clock. All right, let us pray. Dear God, we come to you now thanking you for this day and that you've given us and the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us in this day. Dear God, I ask you to put your hand over this team, dear Lord, as we go throughout this long season, dear God, to keep us healthy, to bless this team, dear Lord. Thank you for everything that you've given us, and we hope that you can watch over us and help us stay healthy throughout the season. Dear Lord, thank you for all the parents that have come tonight to support us, and as they support us throughout the season, dear Lord, I just ask that you keep them safe, and dear Lord, we ask that you help them and keep them safe tonight as they go back to their houses. And just know I pray. Amen.